So if there's one thing I've been hyping pretty much from the first day you get here, it's that don't just take courses. That Purdue University is a Research One university. We have going on behind the doors research that you might read about tomorrow. In fact, the research you read about tomorrow is going on right now, and you as an undergraduate have a golden chance to participate in that research. And that's so important because when you go out in the job world or apply to a graduate school or something, you're always looking for that one thing that kind of sets you apart, that makes you unique in the field of people who are looking about. On my desk, sometimes I'll get 100 different psych applications for people wanting to come here for graduate school. And when I'm looking through them, the one thing that pops out is, oh, they've had some kind of research experience. Because when you're thinking that through, you're thinking, I want a graduate student who knows how to do research. I want a graduate student who can do the kinds of things that I'm going to expect them to do. And how could you tell unless they've already done it in the form of the research-focused honors program? The other reason why that's the research-focused honors program is particularly good is it is kind of like a capstone experience. We don't have a capstone experience for all our majors. Sometimes you could get through with just taking courses. But here again, research-focused honors, it's a chance to do your own research, to get your own work done, and to actually be published. We've had some people in the research-focused honors whose work has appeared in national journals and publications, and they just do great. And it's one of those things. Of course you can come work with me in graduate school because you've already proven that you've done it. You're already working at the graduate level. So it's a terrific opportunity, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure you all can get in and do that. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about how the process works and a little bit more. Like I said, you're missing out. How many people here have done a Psych 390? It's a good experience. You might want to start there. So there are 3 steps to getting in the research-focused honors program. One of the first things, though, is identifying a mentor, somebody that will help you, that'll sort of step you through the road. Ideally, it should be somebody that does something you're interested in. There's an area that you like to do, but it doesn't have to be. Research in some ways is research, and the skills that you learn while doing research in one area, even if it's maybe not the ultimate one you want to be doing, you can still, hopefully, you can apply that elsewhere. And I'd say it'd be better to be in the program in an area of research that's maybe not your favorite than not be in the program at all. And so 390s are a chance to try out research. So those of you who are sophomores or freshmen, that's a good chance to get experience in research. The big difference, what's the difference in 390 between that and the research-focused honors? Yeah. You're doing data collection and somebody else's research. Basically, the plan, the idea is already made, so you usually come in, if you're lucky, they tell you a little bit about what the research is about, you get to learn, you maybe read a few articles, but by and large, all the ideas are already done. You've done it, it's been done for you, so you're helping out with the data collection and the construction, but you're not there at that all-important moment when the idea for the research is first conceived. And that's something else that happens differently in research-focused honors. You get a chance to come up with an idea for your own research that you can then do and see all the way from the light bulb going off in your head to the final presentation that you do at the undergraduate research conference. So again, Psych 390, you work with a faculty member or graduate student on their ongoing research. It's offered by individual faculty each semester, including the summer, and the opportunities are posted online. In fact, there's a link to 390s. I'll show you. You can go there and find that. That's also a very good place to start when you're looking for mentors for the research-focused honors. Because chances are good, if somebody's already supervising undergraduates as a 390, they're more than happy to supervise somebody as a research-focused honors. Perhaps even your own 390 mentors would be interested in sponsoring you for the research-focused honors. Any questions about 390? General, it's a good opportunity. There's usually about maybe 15, 16 posted each semester. They tend to be competitive, but I think people who want them can get them, which is good. Okay. So here we go. Research-focused honors. As I said, the big difference in this is an opportunity to do your own research project. You work one-on-one with a faculty sponsor, and in fact, you're going to see this next coming semester, you'll be working one-on-one mostly with your faculty sponsor and with me in a class that meets to help develop your own psychological research practical skills in research. How many people have heard of performance versus mastery goals? Not a quiz. So, okay, let me ask a different question. How many people think you're born smart? You're just born that way, you're smart the way it is? Okay. So you can become smart over time, right? Okay. How many people think you can become smart over time? Good, that's why you're here in college. This is good. That's called a mastery goal. You can become smarter over time. Now, and there also are performance goals, like, hey, how many people would be interested in getting an A? ending up college with a 4.0 GPA. That sounds good. Those are good things. They are very motivating things. Performance goal, you want to get an A, that's great. The problem is what happens to performance goals when you meet an obstacle. Because if you're used to getting A's all the time and you hit a struggling course where you're kind of a little scary, you might not want to take that really challenging course. And so that's why it's also good to have mastery goals. Where mastery goals are basically where you're trying to get better. The idea is whatever level you are now, that's great, but by the end of the Research Focused Honors Program, we want to get you to the next level. We want you to be performing at a much better, whatever level you are now, we want you at the next one as it goes on. And we'll work on that. We're going to work on aspects of research, how you learn to read about research and think about creating a hypothesis. We're going to critique our own research suggestions and projects. That's one of the most valuable things. It's kind of like an incubator for research ideas. You'll bring in and say, here's my idea for research, and you present it to your fellow class members and myself, and then we'll take it apart and say, well, here's maybe how it could be better. And that's really the process that startups go through. They're coming up with, you think is a great idea, and multiple people can help make it better. You'll help practice your presentation skills and doing pitches and things like that. But also, we're going to help practice your research skills and things like that. So there's a course component that's working principally on mastery, helping you become a better researcher, a better presenter, a better writer, that kind of thing. And we work on those things. We also work a lot on, how many people are interested in getting into graduate school? Is that something that seems like, yeah, right. So we'll work on VITAs and GREs and things like that too, that also help, up your chances at getting into graduate school. Like I said, though, the best way to up your chances is to do research that somebody else is going to be interested in. So then when somebody's interested in getting into, say, developmental psychology at Iowa State just the other day, or University of Iowa, I said, hey, I know this person. They work in my lab. They're great. Take them. You'd be crazy not to take them. And they say, oh, George, okay, sure. This really works well. So there's that. And you'll get to present at the yearly Undergraduate Psychology Research Conference. So at the end of the year, in fact, at the end of this fall, you'll see the current group of research-focused honors people presenting their work. And I'll show you a couple pictures from that, too. It's a very exciting, fairly non-stress way to present your work. Other people then go on to present at other conferences. There's a national conference up in Chicago you can go present to and things like that. But the capstone experience of the Research Focused Honors Program is by this time next year, you'll be preparing your work for presentation at this undergraduate research conference. The prerequisites technically are junior status, and a 3.5 GPA in psychology, although that's negotiable if necessary. A 3.0 overall GPA means you can take it for honors credit too, those of you who are interested in the honors college. Again, all these things are negotiable, but the higher the GPA, the better. Obviously, it's good. Okay, so that's the program itself. Then there's some other specific questions. How many people have seen the Psychology Handbook online? Have you seen this yet? Did you know it's there? Here. Well, look. Well, first, let's see if we can find that. There we go. So, how many people have seen the Psych website? Okay, there we go. Here we go, psych.purdue, here we go. So if you're on the Psych website, one day soon, any day now. Okay. You go to undergraduate, and it doesn't really matter where you go. Majors, requirements, and courses. Number of frequently asked questions. There's a link to the Undergraduate Handbook down here. See that? So if you click on the Undergraduate Handbook, you can download. And it's a complete sort of list of everything you could possibly ever want to know about psychology. And if you do load it, there's a PDF version. There's a PDF version you can print out, and then there's a version that works on the iPad that steps you through all sorts of different things. Like the department with an overview of the majors and requirements. Research-focused honors has its very own section that answers all sorts of questions. There's one on that picture. What the goal of the program is. As we say there, the program is designed to provide independent research opportunities to exceptional undergraduates, which you all are, who have a strong interest in research. And so it answers all the sort of frequently asked questions. I'm going to open up to questions in a second, but the handbook is also a good way to do that. It talks about benefits and challenges and things like that. So this is a chance to go through that, and also provides a link to 390 opportunities and other things. This is a good thing to have. As well as awards and honors. And I should mention the Research-Focused Honors is actually associated with the Hadley Award, which is an award presented at the yearly Undergraduate Research Conference. So not only can you do research, but you can get a nice little recognition for that research, for the best poster that's done at the Undergraduate Research Conference. So, next question is, how do I apply? Maybe. Once again on the website, if you go under here under Majors and Requirements, we have Research-Focused Honors. Actually, I'm sorry, it's under Opportunities, because of course it is an opportunity. Oh, yeah, there it is. Research-Focused Honors was also on the questions in the slide. And again, there's a whole thing for it. This just basically shows the same questions and same things you may have had that are in the handbook. And about this time next Monday, we'll have a full-on application for you that'll be done. But the 3 steps of it are, you have to identify a mentor, somebody who you think can help you out, who will work through. You'll be working with your mentor. You'll probably meet weekly or maybe bi-weekly next semester to create and sort of refine your project, as well as meeting in the Research-Focused Honors class next semester. And then in your fall of your senior year, you're going to be working in class with me as well as working with your advisor to collect data and that kind of thing. And then in the end of your senior year, that's when you're presenting the data. Lots of benefits. I really think it's a chance. And notice these 390 positions, that's a good place to start for looking for mentors if you don't already have one. I mean, oh, what do these people do? They already have a 390. They'd probably be interested in Research-Focused Honors. We're also going to be, so the official announcement for Research-Focused Honors program will probably come out sometime next week. The goal is for it to come out on Monday, but if it doesn't come out till Tuesday, deal with it. But there's an application, and we'll also have a listing of all the faculty who have indicated they would be willing to take on a Research-Focused Honors student. So at that point, your job is to contact the faculty and say, hey, I'd be interested, you want to set up time to meet with those faculty, talk with them a little bit about your interests and their interests, and then see if that seems to be like a good fit. And then you fill out the application, which will be at the bottom of this page come Monday. Here's what it looks like, though. Here we go. So, as it says, eligible students must meet these prerequisites by the end of the fall semester. Junior standing, you've got to have credit for Psych 120, 201, and 203s. That can be an issue for you. The idea is you should have had 203 research methods and stats so you can be able to do your own research. It's kind of advanced now. And then ideally credit for 2 other 3-credit psych courses. Psychology index of at least 3.5, graduation index of 3.0, and recommended Psych 390 experience. Highly recommended, because then you'll know something more about research. And then what we do is we have a list in pre-registration. They're entered in the Psych 404 time. And the department committee around Thanksgiving basically sends a little letter that says, congratulations, you're in, or better luck next year. Not how it works. Mostly we try and get people in as it goes. As I said, the application deadline will be Friday, November 9th. So you have a good month to put this together. Yep.
Can you apply it when you're still taking like 203?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, a lot of you will be taking some of those now. The idea is that you will have at least finished it by the time you start next semester. And we've even had a few people take 203 concurrent with the Research-Focused Honors, so like next semester. That's happened. It's not recommended, and it's kind of counts against you in the decisions of the committee, but it could be done. So most of this it's like they say in Pirates of the Caribbean, they're more like guidelines rather than strict rules, but yeah.
I'm just interested in about how many people do apply to the program.
It varies every year. I mean, we've had as many as 19 or 20, and then like a couple of years ago it was only 7. So, it kind of goes around. Looks like there are a few more people applying this year. I think the maximum will take, we have to talk about it, maybe 15 or 16. But you fill out an application. This is the application. There's a request form. It gives your name, email, majors, and then what you did in the different courses. It's mostly for us to just sort of see how you're going. Any 390 experience. And like I said, that's due November 9th. The other thing in here, though, is ideally, if you've identified a faculty sponsor, that helps a lot. And in fact, sometimes you get a letter of recommendation, preferably from the faculty member who will supervise the student's project. So you say, hey, I'd like to do this particular research, and you ask your 390 instructor or somebody, or this faculty person you've talked to ask for a recommendation. It's not a long recommendation. It's, yes, I know this person, they'll be great, I'm looking forward to sponsoring them in the program. It's not like, 3 things. Find a faculty sponsor, fill out the application form, and then submit it on time. Other questions? Yeah.
So you said like the requirements vary, kind of. So I don't know. Say you didn't have a B- in research methods, but you have a faculty that's willing to sponsor you.
Yep.
Okay, right.
I mean, probably fine. Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I said. They're more like guidelines, and every case is special. We pretty much look through each person's background and see if this makes sense. And that's what happened in the research 203. We had somebody that was just taking research methods that same semester. I said, well, that could kind of work because you're just going over your project, in some ways thinking about research methods. You have to write a research proposal in it, so hey, it kind of works out. But that's the idea. We want you to have experience with that. And again, we're just anxious in getting undergraduates involved in research because, again, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to, when somebody looks at your resume and says, oh, you did research? Or better yet, you did that research? I've even heard of that. I read about it in the newspaper. Wow, it helps make you stand out, especially in the fields that psychology has strengths in.
My name is Jonathan Burke. I'm a senior now, and I'm in the research-focused honors program. I really enjoyed it. I started out with a 390 in my freshman year with Dr. Eckhart. He looks at intimate partner violence. So I sort of stuck with him through the years, did another 390 in my sophomore year, and then when this came up, I definitely jumped at the opportunity. I'll admit it, I'm not actually even applying to graduate school in psychology. I'm applying to medical school. But I can tell you that the first question, or one of the first questions that each medical school has asked me in my interviews, centers on my research, and I'm more than happy to talk to them about my project for the entire half hour or hour that they have me for. So it's been a great experience, and I highly suggest that you all do it, no matter what you're going to go into. So what questions do you have for me? I could talk a little bit more about my project, the experience in general. Okay, so specifically my project deals with the attitudes that batterers or people in general have and how that might protect or sort of maybe lead to intimate partner violence or aggression. And we're looking at 2 types of attitudes, specifically the attitudes toward the regulation of anger and toward the use of violence. Obviously, if you ask someone just to tell you about their attitudes toward violence, they're probably going to lie and say, oh, violence is bad, I love to regulate my anger. That's not helpful. So those self-report measures that try to get at that information are often wrong, and they give us faulty correlations. It's just not helpful, and this is especially a problem when you consider we have batterer intervention programs and other things like this that are relying on those self-reports. So in my project, I'm trying to use something called the Implicit Associations test. You've probably heard of this. It's a test you can take online on a computer, and you have to sort words really quickly into one of 2 categories, and that can tell you about your unconscious or implicit attitudes. The test to see if you're racist or not was popular out there. It was made fun of on TV shows and everything. But this seems to work for other things, and that's a part of my study to see if that works. So I have participants take that test, and we get their data on these 2 attitudes, and then we have them listen to a highly provoking scenario in which their girlfriend or boyfriend is flirting with someone of the opposite sex. While they're listening to that, they have a voodoo doll and pins next to them, and we tell them to let out all of their negative emotions on that voodoo doll with the pins. So the number of pins and the location of the pins would be indicative of the behavioral aggression that the person exhibits, and we link that to the attitudes they have. So it should be interesting to see what kind of data we get and where I can go with this. Yeah, so that's just an example of the project. You can do a lot. It's a lot of fun. When I came into freshman year and I first met Dr. Eckhart, I didn't imagine that in my senior year I would be working with him on my own project and participants would be playing with voodoo dolls. I just did not see voodoo dolls in my college career as a whole. But no, it's great. I've learned a lot from it. Obviously, I'm probably not going to be doing this type of research or research on this subject in medical school, but I think that medical schools, well, there's a lot of research there, and I think a lot of medical professions require certain research, so that's great for me. And even beyond that, the medical schools see that, okay, I'm responsible, I have my own project, and I'm taking the initiative. That's great for basically anything that you want to go into. In terms of the actual seminar class, this has actually been great too. Right now we're going over vitas and resumes and perfecting those, talking about personal statements. In a week or so, we're also going to have to do a lightning journal presentation where we pick out a journal and present it in 5 minutes, but we can only have one slide to show. That's going to be fun. What other things have we done? We started off a lot by sort of talking about how to write and put together a paper and the different elements of that, the intricacies in that. So it's been a great experience. You really connect with the other students you're in. You can commiserate about some of the pains of running participants all day, or the stresses of figuring out the statistics or what you have to do in general. But the mentors that you're working with, they're graduate students, everyone on your team, they'll be extremely helpful, and they'll guide you through the process and make it a really worthwhile experience. So are there any questions for me specifically? Anything I haven't talked about? Yes?
You said you started out like as a freshman. I don't know how did you like get into it? What did you do?
Well, as Dr. Hollick said, you definitely want to get involved in the 390 experiences. They're listed there. So just take a look at that list and see if any of those professors, any of those researchers are looking at something that is mildly interesting to you. And you can email them and talk to them a little bit. I'm sure there's an application process. I'm a little out of that by now. But yeah, definitely get involved in that. Earlier is better. You can maybe try out a lab this year, and then if you don't like that, or if it's interesting but you want something else, you can try a different lab in a subsequent semester. So get started with 390 early, and that'll really help out. And really, the 390s are what you make it. The more you get involved, the more you get out of it. So really push hard to do as much as you can and learn as much as you can.
And what
I was wondering, do you take other classes along with this, and like what's the time commitment and the time balance between your other classes and research?
You definitely take other classes. I'm taking the usual load, but there is a time commitment, a fairly good time commitment. Once you start running participants and all of that, especially, that's a lot of time. So you're going to put a lot of focus into this program once you get started, definitely in your senior year. That's probably when it picks up heavily. But it's really worth it. I think about this program more than I think about my other classes. This is interesting. I feel personally invested in this. When a participant shows up, you'll feel disappointed. You won't say, oh, phew, I've got a little extra time now. You want this project to turn out, because this is really your work. It's your baby.
What is the most interesting 390 class you have ever taken?
The most interesting 390?
Yeah.
Probably when I was running participants on one of Dr. Eckhart's experiments having to do with ostracism and intimate partner violence. It was just fun to be involved in a study that used deception, and they had a cyberball experiment where you play against the computer, but the person thought it was two other people on an online network, and the two other people would never pass you the ball, and then that actually created anger, negative feelings that might make intimate partner violence more likely. So that was just fun to see that progress, and then see the data come in and sort of analyze that and change. Go ahead.
So then I asked like every senior, now like building a resume except for grad school, like what are things you would have done differently, or that you recommend that we definitely do?
Well, I did a lot, and sometimes I wish that I had focused a little bit more on certain things rather than others. So I think early on you need to decide what you're most interested in, what your goals are, and seek out experiences that would best for that. For example, if you want to go into graduate school in psychology, and if you want to do research as in the future as your profession, then research now and do everything involved with research. Pick up the journals and magazines in psychology and read those. Join, what's the cheaper one?
Psych Club.
What was that? The cheaper journal, the cheaper.
Oh, APS?
Yeah, APS. Join APS. It's like $35 for students or something, and you get a magazine and
Which is a
or a
great
journal and all sorts of good stuff. I mean, just get involved and do Psych-Hi and all of that. So just try to stay focused, have fun, and have a good time, but really stay focused on a couple key goals. Like if research is your key goal, then do 390s and get involved in that as much as you can. And say, I want to do this, I want to be a researcher in the future, so throw everything at me, or throw more at me, give me more tasks, let me get a peek at this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What other questions do we have? All right, well, I hope I see you guys at the Undergraduate Research Conference. I'll be able to show you my poster, hopefully with some good data. You never know.
Good stuff. Yes, don't forget, that'll be in, was it March, I guess?
It's late March or April.
Late March or April. We may even know the time, but I'll tell you that. The other thing I want to say that's kind of a point, this is this shift in college that happens from going to courses and learning about stuff and actually doing the kinds of things that you're expected to do once you get outside of college. And I think that's a big shift, because a lot of us get in that, I know I did, I was a big student, I'm sure that's a surprise. When you come in, you take your notes, you do well in the test, and you think, oh, I'm great at this. Well, you can be good at college, but are you any good in the real world? You know, and this is what this kind of experience gets you involved in. Like, how do you actually do the research? And it's that transition into figuring out what it's like to be a psychologist or to do research and to understand and develop your specific skills that would help it be even better. So I very much encourage you to do this, and like I said, all those guidelines are flexible. Just apply. Please apply. And even if you don't have a faculty mentor, sometimes a faculty mentor can be provided to you. We had that happen. If you can't find somebody, or somebody's not doing quite the area of interest, you write down your particular areas of interest, and maybe we'll find somebody that can fit in. So, good stuff. So keep your eyes out for the application on Monday or Tuesday, and we all set.